Being rejected for a job stings, especially when you made it to the final round of interviews and you thought you were a strong candidate. But then you receive an email or it's a letter. It tells you, hey, the company, well, they've hired someone else. You know, for a lot of people, the first reaction is going to be to lash out at the company, or maybe you even blame yourself, but it is important to learn from this experience and just to move on. In this video, I'm going to suggest what you should do immediately after you receive a job rejection letter. And that, my friends, that's up next right here on Over 50 TV. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes. So the question is, what do you do after you receive a job rejection letter? Well, first, let me say that you should or you may consider yourself lucky or at the very least, consider yourself respected because for many HR professionals, and I use that term professionals loosely, sending a rejection letter to a job applicant, why, it's a waste of their very valuable time, and it's really not convenient for them. So what they do is they ghost you instead. Well, at least when you get a rejection letter, you know where you stand. So now let me tell you what to do immediately after you receive a rejection letter. Specifically, I'm going to outline 5 positive steps that you can take after you get one of those Dear John letters. And in this video, what I also want to do is I'm going to share with you a few tips that will really help you going forward after this job rejection dust has settled. Tip number 1 after you receive a job rejection letter: consider responding. Yeah, consider responding. You know, if you're still interested in the company, it may be worth responding to their letter. But be sure when you do respond, be sure to sound positive and ask them to keep you in mind for future opportunities. You know, in my experience, and I've hired hundreds of people, what I find is a very high percentage of applicants who receive a rejection letter, they don't respond. You know, I think this is a big mistake, and I think it's a big mistake for 2 reasons. First, when you respond, you're putting yourself back in front of that hiring manager. Now, they may not give a second thought to your response, but then again, your letter or your email, it could make that hiring manager think twice about you. Some of my most memorable interactions with applicants were after I rejected them. And one applicant I remember rejecting, she went so far as to politely let me know that I was making a big mistake. She emphasized her value, her experience, and she let me know that my company, my fast-growing company that was growing like a weed, she said, this is my top workplace choice. You know, I ended up bringing her back in, and I sat down with her, and then what I did is I hired her. And I hired her for my sales team, and she became one of my top salespeople. So the rejection letter isn't always the final word when it comes to hiring a person. Number 2, connect on LinkedIn. You know, you could also ask the contacts you made while interviewing to connect with you on that platform, on LinkedIn. Remind them of your interview and thank them for their time and their consideration. That follow-up is always a nice touch. Number 3, check future openings. You know, we've all read job rejection letters that say our resume will be kept on file. But the truth is this. The truth is will probably be forgotten as time goes by. It's really up to you to watch the company's website and look at other places where you can find the latest vacancies to apply for. I'll say this though, just don't apply for openings that are lights out different than the position you originally applied for, because it just makes you desperate. It makes you look desperate for a job, and it doesn't put you in a good negotiating position should they decide to call you in. Now, unless you can justify applying for a completely different job, I don't suggest making this sudden career change. Now, I will say too though, if you've decided a new career move is in your cards, I want you to check out my video, The Secret to Applying for a Job When You're Underqualified. The video, it includes some steps that you can take when you're looking to make a career change. And I'm going to put a link to that video above my head here on one of these 2 sides. And I also will put a link to that video in the description box. Number 4, ask for feedback. Companies may not want to comment on their hiring process, but there are some cases where they are willing to do that, and you can collect some pretty valuable feedback. Now, if you've worked with a recruiter, ask them if they can tell you how the decision was made and what areas they think you might need to strengthen. I do find most HR professionals, though, and I make no apologies for using the term professional loosely when it comes to HR people, I find most of them are uncomfortable when it comes to revealing what I'll call the real reason that you were rejected. But it doesn't hurt to ask, because sometimes you'll get an honest answer. Number 5, evaluate your performance. A rejection letter can be a great opportunity for you to critique yourself. And I suggest examining the entire process from your resume to the final interview. Now, you're likely to discover that there are things that you want to do differently next time. And also, in previous videos, something that I've suggested doing is hiring a career coach. And I suggest this because their expertise and their unbiased attention, why it could help you to improve your skills, but it can also help you in this evaluation process. So I've just shared with you what to do immediately after you receive a job rejection letter. Now I'd like to offer a few, what I would just say are important tips that can help you after this rejection letter dust has settled. Number 1, accept your feelings. It's natural to feel hurt or to feel irritated when you've been turned down for a position that you really wanted. But you've got to treat yourself with compassion, and you've got to acknowledge your loss. Don't hide it. Don't put it on the side. Just say, okay, this happened to me, and now it's time to move on. Number 2, talk it over. It could help you, and probably it will help you to discuss the situation with a friend or a professional job coach. But focus on what you can do to make your next interview more effective. Don't focus on what happened. Number 3, clarify your goals. Maybe you're on the appropriate track, or perhaps you could benefit or would benefit from changing your approach. Think about what kinds of jobs you enjoy and at what you're good at. Expanding your options, why it could uncover new possibilities, or at the very least, it could give you more practice interviewing. Number 4, build support. Join a Facebook group or a chat room. Network with people in your industry. Another thing that I strongly recommend is don't be shy, or don't shy away from letting family and friends, don't shy away from letting them know how they can help you. But building support is definitely one of the key ways that you can help yourself get past that rejection letter and get on to better opportunities. Number 5, review your accomplishments. Boost your self-esteem by making a list of your past achievements, and carry that list with you so you can remind yourself every day of your talents, your skills, and also of your experience. A good friend of mine, I remember years ago, he did pretty much this, but he wrote it on his bathroom mirror, so every day when he woke up, he was reminded of all the good things he's done, and he used that list as a great motivator. Number 6, assess your finances. Maybe you're concerned that your job search is lasting longer than expected, and your budget, when it's going longer than you expected, your budget's going to get a little tighter. But you can ease that pressure by exploring possible sources of side income and reducing some of those unnecessary expenses. Now, I'm going to always suggest starting a side hustle. A side hustle is a great way of taking charge of your life and your career. A side hustle done right, it not only provides extra cash, but it can also grow into a great new career for you. Now, if you want to know everything there is to know about starting a side hustle, there's a link to Side Hustle Rules. That's my brand new YouTube channel. And I also have a link, or will include a link, to Side Hustle Rules on Patreon, on our Patreon page. And those links will be in the description box. And on both of those sites, what you're going to learn is you're going to learn how to start a side hustle, which will make you that extra income. My Side Hustle Rules site on YouTube is brand new. I'm uploading videos there right now, but you can also see some side hustle videos on Over 50 TV. My last tip for continuing your job search is this: stay positive. Remaining cheerful when things aren't looking so great. Why? Remaining cheerful, it'll definitely make you more resilient, and it helps you when it comes to handling rejection. And remember, remember that you've got the potential. You've got the potential to be a valuable employee and a contributing team member because you've got a lot of experience. So don't get caught up in self-pity or self-deprecation. Now, something that I've used, a tip I'm going to share with you, and I've used this many times during my low points in my life, which I've had a few, is I remember the sacrifices that my mom made to put food on our table and a roof over the head of her 5 kids. My mother struggled like hell to overcome more than a few giant obstacles. So the least I can do is to struggle like hell to overcome my own. Now, I know you've got some episodes or something in your life that you can use to motivate you. Write it down on a piece of paper if you need to, or maybe you just got to think about it and rehash it in your head. But use whatever tips or whatever you can do to stay positive. So let me close this video by saying this: maintaining confidence, your confidence and hope, it's going to help you to bounce back from rejections, and you should use, I think anyway, use each experience to fine-tune your job search strategies. If you network vigorously and you consistently follow up on each lead, you can find lots of opportunities, and you can also increase your chances of finding a job that you're going to love. Well, that's all I got for you today, folks. I want to thank you for watching Over 50 TV. If you would, I'll ask you to do 3 things. Subscribe to our channel. Hit that little bell that's a notification bell. If you hit that bell every single time I upload a new video, you'll be notified in your inbox. Now, there's also a thumbs up button. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, well, you can give me a thumbs down. As I always say, have a great day, everybody.